Muhammad Shakar says, "Hey Luke, do you believe the no pain, no gain philosophy when it comes to language learning? To me, I don't believe it because learners can choose a natural way to enjoy the process. Your opinion?" So this is a really interesting one. This is not about actually learning. It's more about the attitude toward learning, right? Can you learn in a natural way? Of course, of course. Someone who is immersed, for example, in the United States, in a job, communicating on a daily basis with native English speakers, who's watching movies and doing social activities in English, over time, this person, if they're genuinely open-minded and curious, will pick up the language, not just the language, but the cultural background of the language, which is also important. I can't remember which philosopher it was. It might have been Al-Farabi, who said, it was him that translated it. Anyway, he was reading Socrates via Plato, and he couldn't understand it because of all of the, it was Aristotle. He was reading Aristotle, and he couldn't understand it. Not because he couldn't understand the words there. It was translated, right? He couldn't understand it because he didn't understand the context, the social background. So then, I'm getting my history mixed up. It was either he or someone before him then was able to interpret Aristotle within the context of his culture. And again, I can't remember if it was Al-Farabi who did the translation and interpretation, or he was the one who got it from someone else. Anyway, beside the point. The point is, it's not just about learning words or learning idioms. It's about learning that in the context of the culture, in the situations in which a native English speaker will learn those, right? So that's important too, and you would get that with immersion. If you have that environment around you where you can create that environment, even if you're not living in a native English speaking country, and you enjoy that process, great. That is a fantastic way to learn. But the other part of this question is, what about no pain, no gain? So I think that can work too. Things when it comes to language are not binary. It's either this or it's that, right? It's hard to say because people are different. If someone is able to absorb things from their environment, loves the process of engaging with others, and can pick things up in that way, and can get a feeling for the context and the situation and the usage and all that, great. Then that person may not need the no pain, no gain way, because that's how they are. That's kind of their personality style, and that's how they absorb things. But if it's another type of person who maybe isn't as social or doesn't have that sort of surrounding and doesn't really like to pursue their interests in the English language, which is, by the way, another way to gain English immersion, is to surround yourself in the English language with your interests, by following your interests. Maybe some people don't really like that style, don't get very much out of that style. Well, then maybe those people need the no pain, no gain approach in order to retain things, remember things, learn vocabulary. I think there's always going to be a little aspect of no pain, no gain for everybody, because there will be some activities you have to do. Let's say you're living in that native English speaking country, you have that environment, but you've got to learn how to write emails. Because in the workplace, if you have terrible, sloppy, poorly written emails, then people are going to judge you for that. So, okay, I have to learn how to write emails. I'm going to master punctuation, not that hard, but I've got to learn it. Okay, that's kind of painful. So that would be no pain, no gain, right? No pain, no gain. Means you have to do something difficult and struggle a little bit, hurt yourself in that way in order to get something. I think there's always a small aspect of that, even for those who like to learn the other way, the fun way, the engaging way. But that doesn't mean that way can't work for many people, because I know learners who prefer that style. Study, practice, exercises, and that's perfectly good too. In fact, in some ways, that can be faster because those people in your workplace, they're not necessarily teaching you stuff, right? But if you're sitting down, practicing something, doing exercises, then you might actually improve faster than the other person because you're doing dedicated exercises. You're sitting down with a teacher and practicing. That might be more difficult. It might not be as fun, but you might make progress more quickly because maybe you're getting feedback because you're doing things specifically to learn the language, to master the language, right? And not just for work and, oh, by the way, you improve your English. So each side has their pros and cons. I would say, ideally, you would find something in the middle where you would have some English immersion. You would be able to have English around you and use English on a daily basis, but you would also set aside time for dedicated, specific, painful exercises and practice. Pronunciation practice, recording yourself, giving yourself feedback, doing exercises to improve listening, for example, can take your English to the next level and supplement the immersion part. So if you have a bit of both, I think you'll improve faster. You will have the context. You'll have a more engaging way to learn, but also you'll have that slightly more difficult style of learning that might push you forward faster. So I hope that all makes sense. I know it's a somewhat long explanation, but that would be my recommendation. That's a great question from Mohammed. Awesome question. If you guys haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button or the thumbs up button. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and you can check out my full English courses, including my latest pronunciation course, in the links in the description.